It's almost 5 years since Peter Lowe died, and his family is still paying off his loans.
We had to sell the house. Mum now lives with us. She doesn't have any money. And so I guess, for everybody at home that gets frustrated because they can't afford a loan or because they can't, you don't want to be us.
Peter Lowe borrowed nearly $1 million to keep his explosives business afloat. But when he died in an industrial accident, the family lost its main source of income.
We were just all totally devastated, just for the simple fact that we weren't aware of all this money.
Ryan Lowe and his mother are engaged in a long-running dispute with insurance giant Suncorp over the 4 loans taken out in 2013 and 2014. One was found by the Financial Ombudsman to have been irresponsibly lent by Suncorp.
It's irresponsible lending. This is the perfect example, unfortunately for us, when it can go wrong. So again, if the government is happy for these sort of situations to keep happening, go for it. Loosen those rules. But I can guarantee you'll be in the same position again in a couple of years where everything will turn bad.
Responsible lending laws were introduced by the Rudd Labor government in 2009 in response to the global financial crisis. That slump was sparked by the US collapse of subprime mortgages, loans given to people less likely to repay them. Failures by banks to meet responsible lending rules was a major issue at the 2018 Royal Commission. Now the government says the rules are a handbrake on economic recovery.
Responsible lending has become restrictive lending. We need the regulation to be streamlined. We need customers to be able to access credit.
Ryan and his family are worried others will find themselves in similar situations if the rules are relaxed.
I guess the whole point of us going into this Royal Commission was to try in vain to help that these situations don't ever happen again to other people. It's awful. It's horrendous.
Yeah, but they just don't recur.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to money. Banks want to make money. They don't care.
The government says the changes will make it easier for banks to lend to businesses and households and will be a shot in the arm for an economy suffering the worst recession in a century. Data from the Reserve Bank shows a noticeable slowdown in investors taking out home loans, which is showing up in lower house prices. A relaxation of the rules could lead to more loans being written and support prices.
I'm very concerned about the government's decision to remove responsible lending. I think it would be a colossal mistake. Right now, what Australians need is more income, not more debt. Unsustainable debt is going to hurt families, it's going to hurt small business, it's bad economic policy, and it's a short-term fix for a flailing economy.
Julia Davis from the Financial Rights Legal Centre says the Royal Commission demonstrated banks can't be trusted to do the right thing.
It's going to put more profits in the hands of the banks, and it's going to hurt families. It's devastating when people lose their homes. It is devastating when people are forced into bankruptcy. This isn't just a small change that's going to make regulation simple and remove red tape. It's really removing consumer protections.
Others have welcomed the government announcement.
I think the current rules punish people like me, the self-employed, and they punish the people, who are young trying to get into the market.
Musicians Christy Davis and husband Luke live in a rented house in Newcastle with their 3 children as they save for a house deposit.
We, as self-employed and the type of loan we need for a home loan, we have to have that 20% deposit. Now, having a family of, 5, we need quite a large house, so that there's a $200,000 deposit.
Christy runs her own music school and has found it hard to even get small business loans in the past, let alone a home loan.
I know that I can afford the credit, I know that I can afford my mortgage, but somebody else who earns less than me but has a secure job is able to get that loan, but I'm not. Sometimes it makes me feel a bit ill because I'm like, I don't know if I can get to that point. I do think that the banks have some responsibility, but I think at some point the onus has to fall on us.
Well, I'm not sure that the removal of the RLOs puts a greater burden on the borrower itself. The borrower always has got an obligation to make an assessment as to whether or not they can appropriately service and then ultimately repay the loan.
Graham Samuel, the former chair of the Australian Competition Regulator, supports the removal of the responsible lending rules.
The laws are complex. The laws are frankly unable to be understood not only by lenders but indeed by the regulators themselves.
But for Ryan and Jenny Lowe, still paying back a loan found to be irresponsible, seeing that protection removed is a worry.
There were kinder rules when this happened to us. So if all those rules are taken away, I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.